Hey everybody, what's up? Yeah, it's been a very long time since I did a recording, and I'm wondering if it's because of the extended, shocking experience that we've been through. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like a little bit exhausted. How do you feel? All my ohana in Hawaii, all my ohana in the United States. Ohana means family, by the way, as you probably learned in Lilo and Stitch. And all our ohana around the world. I don't know if I've ever experienced, besides remember the 2000 problem where it's going to turn the year 2000 and all computers are going to stop and all that? Y2K issue. I remember that like the whole world was worried about that. That sort of felt like a common experience. But this one, this corona, this COVID-19, oh, brah, it included everyone in the world, right? And I feel like all of us in the world have gone through this kind of really deep, extended, shocking experience, right? And I mean, there's like political, unrest all over the place, US, everywhere, even Myanmar right now. And you feel like you're being dragged somehow, right? Like it feels dragging on you. And I think that maybe one of the reasons why, like, I haven't even been journaling very much recently. And I've been reading this book about Lewis and Clark, the Lewis and Clark exhibition across the United States. And it's very, very inspiring. Well, those guys were strong. I don't agree with everything they did, by the way, but this book is quite interesting that I'm reading. And I feel like even at the part that I'm reading now, Meriwether Lewis had stopped writing in his journal. And they think that it might have been because he was manic depressant. So he would get really happy and then really, really depressed. And I wonder if maybe we're not doing our normal sort of habit that we like maybe a lot of people haven't been able to go to the gym. Luckily, now I like to walk more, so I can pretty much walk anywhere. But if you're like a gym rat, a lot of them are, I really like gym rats. If you like gyms, maybe you haven't been able to go. Our routines have been disrupted, worried about work, worried about the future, worried about money, worried about all that kind of stuff, yeah? And so I feel like this has been a very long kind of, extended period of pain that we've all gone through. And so, of course, now that we see kind of, because the thing is that when Meriwether Lewis stopped doing his journal, it was right when they had discovered the Pacific Ocean. Well, not discovered, of course, but had reached it. So they had basically gone across the, United States, out of the United States at that time, and across the Rocky Mountains, and all into Idaho and Oregon and places like that, Washington. And then they finally reached their goal, they reached the goal of the Pacific Ocean. And that's where he stops writing in his journal. So I wonder, like, as we see maybe the light at the end of the tunnel with the vaccine and all that, it's kind of like after a really bad a really taxing sort of job or something, they often say that when you relax is when you start to really feel it, you feel what you've been through. It's kind of like this whole year of kind of like shocking experiences. And then now we're kind of like, oh, maybe it's going to get better. Maybe it's going to end. And that's when you start, when you see the goal, like he saw the Pacific Ocean, that's when kind of all of the stress that you felt over the last year sort of kicks in. I don't know, it's just my theory. And I wanted to tell you guys this just wonderful story about the preschoolers that I teach. I don't even know if you can even use the word teach. Because it's not really teach. Because they're 3, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds, okay? So it's more like English lesson, but actually, I feel like for a lot of the little kids in my class, I go once a month, one of the biggest challenges for them is just to get used to interacting with somebody that looks like me. So my ultimate goal is to make them feel comfortable with interacting with somebody who looks like me, so that in the future, when they see somebody who's not Japanese, they wouldn't be scared, or they'd feel like, oh, that person's nice, you know, I like people who speak different languages. I've heard a different language before, you know, something like that. Like just starting at the base of interacting with somebody who that doesn't look like who you're used to, right? So that's kind of like the ultimate, well, kind of the main goal of these little classes. So one is 15 minutes long and the other one is 20 minutes long. And they are just the cutest things. And I feel like when we get exhausted like this, and when we're feeling like dragged down and so overwhelmed with what's going on, it's always good to go back to the origin of things, right? And I think that this is just my opinion, but I think that those little kids that just came from what I believe would be heaven, right? They just got here and they just came. It's like maybe they do still have angel speak in them. I don't know. But some of the things they say are just so pure and so healing. And I want to tell you about this little thing. Well, I mean, there's so many funny things that happen. So I was telling them, I have a picture of a banana that's yellow, right? And I say, what is this called? What color is this in Japanese? And in Japanese, the color for yellow is kiro, right? So they're like, kiro! You know, they all go, hey, I want to answer. Hey, I want to answer. And I say, what do you think? And he goes, kiro. And I say, that's right. And then I say, what is the color kiro in English? And they're looking at the picture, right? What is the color kiro in English? Hey, they all raise their hand. The 4-year-olds raise their hand with the little mask on their face, raise their hand. I say, hey, what do you think? And he goes, I said, keto. What is the color for keto in English? And he looks at me with these really big eyes and he says, banana. Because, you know, it's just cute. So, like the little mistakes they make, or it's not even a mistake. Like, okay, it's fine. I mean, they're so pure and cute. And it's so like real and raw. And, you know, it's an overused word, but very authentic. So what happened the other day is what I heard from my pastor who runs the Yochien, right? And they were having this big yearly event that they have. And he was talking about kizuna. Have you ever heard of the word kizuna? Kizuna was used, I think, in the Rugby World Cup in 2020 or 2019. When do we have that? Where they were talking about the bond between countries, the bond between people. It's a way to describe like a really deep connection that you have with the person you're married to, or your kids, or your people at work. It's like kizuna is the kind of bond in a relationship that we work towards. And I love that word so much. I actually asked my friend who's an artist to write that Chinese character, and I gave it as a present to all of my family so they can put it on their wall, so we can all have kizuna on our wall. And even though we're so separate, I'm in Japan, other family members in Colorado, other family members in West Coast, other family members in Hawaii, even though we're so far away, we can look at that picture and feel we're connected, right? It's a connection, it's a bond. So the pastor was asking the kids, the little chibi-chan kids, the tiny little kids, what do you think kizuna is, right? Who knows what they're going to answer? That's the most beautiful thing of it. I feel like that's where the angel speak comes out, because it's like so unabridged. Is that what you say? It's like not, there's no holding back. Like no, those little babies are not thinking, oh, if I say this, somebody might think I'm weird. And that starts to happen like 6 or 7 years old, maybe, but not at 3 and 4. So anyway, they're all like, hey, he's asking, what is kizuna? What do you think kizuna means? And, you know, since I'm sure a lot of you guys do speak Japanese and you're studying Japanese, so you don't need the explanation. But kizuna is one Chinese character, kizuna, okay? But the little kids said, kizu na, kizu na su, kizu naosu, which means heal your wound, okay? Kizu is a wound or an injury. Naosu is what is healing. It's what the doctor does, or it's what God does, or whatever. It's the healing. So the little kid in his head, whatever message that was saying that he thought kizuna was kizu o naosu, healing wounds. And that's the message that I wanted to tell you guys today, is that going forward, if we can just all focus on helping these wounds to heal, I think we have a bright future ahead. So over this year, especially, maybe much before that as well, all of us adults especially, the older you get, the more it is, we all have our little wounds, right? Big wounds, deep wounds. Some wounds you can see, some wounds you can't see. So I thought the true connection, the true bond that we can have with others is helping heal their wounds, okay? So whether it's a kind word, whether it's helping grandma carry her grocery bag, whether it's patting your son or daughter on the head and saying you're doing a good job, whether it's a big hug to your spouse, whether it's a written letter, remember those? A written letter to your friend, or a phone call to somebody you think might be lonely. I feel like kizu o naosu, healing the wounds, is going to be something we can all contribute to, even in our own little way, no matter where we are, because we've all kind of been wounded over this period for many different reasons. So hoping that I will also find my motivation to go forward and move into this new sort of interesting start of an era post-COVID, and that also you can have the strength to do it too. And let's keep in our mind what we learned from that little 3-year-old or 4-year-old about kizu o naosu, healing the wounds. And how do we heal wounds for the other person, right? And then I noticed that the more you think about the other person, the more you get helped as well. So thank you to the little kid. Thank you to the 4-year-olds that I teach English to, because I learned so much from them. And I really, in these very hard times, I want to go back to the basics and try to have a purer approach to life. So, I didn't speak much Pidgin today and not many funny stories, but I just wanted to give you guys a little message and wishing you all the best. And stay safe, stay strong, stay positive. We can do this. All right. Aloha. Bye-bye.